Let's begin, though, with some breaking news from the Fed. For that, we'll turn to Steve Leisman on a very busy day for Fed Speak. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Carl, good morning. Adding to the busyness here, Atlanta Fed President Bostic announcing he will retire at the end of his term, February 2026. You remember, all Fed presidents' terms end at the 5-year period, ending in a 6 or a 1. That is, so they're all up, and Bostic taking this opportunity to retire. He serves as Atlanta Fed president since 2017. Atlanta Fed announcing it will form a search committee to look for a replacement. I would say that I don't think that there's his bio right there. Since 2017, graduate from Harvard, 87, PhD from Stanford, 95, former HUD secretary, former president, professor at USC. I don't think the Fed is losing a committed hawk or dove here. Bostic has been very much in the middle. He has also, by the way, experienced some issues related to his investments. They were found to be not intentional in a series of investigations. Whether or not that would be seen as a potential liability to reappointment, especially in this very, very political time, all of this points to perhaps the importance of, if the president were to get a majority on the Federal Reserve Board, they would have more control, this group of Trump appointees, more control in who gets reappointed as a Fed president. Separately, guys, we're watching this. New York Fed President John Williams at a Treasury conference today that includes the Treasury Secretary says it will not be long before the Fed begins to expand its balance sheet again. That's been out there, but something that has animated the bond market, which also, as you know, was animated by that negative ADP number yesterday, guys.
But, Steve, I think we should draw the distinction, right? Bostic's replacement will not be chosen by the president. He's a Federal Reserve Bank president, right? It's not like a governor where the president gets to pick who he wants. So, yes, this will further reshape the views and the faces on the Fed next year, but it won't be another Trump appointee.
So, right. It's an important distinction to make, and I'm sorry if I used a little bit of shorthand on that. The board of the directors of the Atlanta Fed will name and nominate and appoint the Atlanta Fed president. However, as you know, these appointments are approved by the Board of Governors every 5 years. So that's the place where Trump appointees and perhaps the president himself through those appointees would get some say in who serve as the bank presidents out there. And that has actually been discussed, this issue of whether or not the president would have that majority, would have some say-so or additional say-so. Usually, as you know, these approvals by the board tend to be perfunctory. They get involved a little bit on the front end, but usually when the board of directors of the individual district bank nominates, the board of governors tends to approve.
Right, exactly. So Myron's position will be up. Fed Chair Powell's chairmanship will be up. We don't know if he's going to stay in his seat or not. That could be another one that the president gets. And then this will be, one for the Reserve Bank. Is that what we're tracking for next year?
As we reported, Sarah, yes, it may be that the administration uses the Myron seat to pick the chair, because then the chair would have a fresh 14-year term. I know it gets complicated and more about the Federal Reserve Act than the average investor needs or wants to know, but that would be the explanation, if you're interested, why the next chair may be nominated to that Myron position, because the Powell position has only 2 years left in the 14-year term.
Got it. Steve, thank you. Steve Leisman.